Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video we got one of those old whodunits. I mean, it's more of a whydunit at this stage, but you know what I mean. This story takes us to Ohio, shockingly, and it is about the tragic and horrifying events that occurred just as 2025 came to a close. Dr. Spencer Tepe, his wife Monique, and their 2 kids lived in this nice old house in Columbus, Ohio. When a welfare check was requested at their home, a scene, which is as disturbing as it gets, was discovered. And the investigation, folks, it still plays out right now, if you can believe that. But what we do already know so far, none of it's great. But before we get into it, please subscribe to see new stories for the dark every single week. Now, you and I, let's give it a go. Just to the north of downtown Columbus lies this little old neighborhood called Wineland Park. And you know what? It's a bit alright. Wineland Park is leafy, spacey, a place for the fam, you know yourself. The area is filled with homes dating back to the 30s. Used to be for the factory workers, now just for the workers. 1411 North 4th Street. If you go there on Street View right now, you'll see jack shit. Booty, that's old news. That Street View is from 2015. How dare they? Because today sits a beautiful house. It's got this mixture of old and new in style. No doubt a nice place to live. And it certainly seems like it was for the Tepe family, made up of Spencer, Monique, and their 2 children. Now Spencer was, well, in fact he was actually Dr. Spencer. Spencer worked as a dentist. Dr. Tepe was working at Athens Dental Depot, which is in Athens, Ohio, which is a fair old commute, to be honest. I mean, Asher Jesus, it's an hour 18 each way on the far side of the city of Columbus. Couldn't have moved anywhere closer? No, had to. His bio on the dental website, it reads out a little bit like what I'm exactly about to read out for you. Dr. Spencer Tepe attended The Ohio State University, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in biology, while double majoring in Spanish. He continued his education at The Ohio State University College of Dentistry, earning his Doctor of Dental Surgery in 2017. Since graduating, Dr. Tepe has invested hundreds of hours in continuing education and focuses on comprehensive dentistry, with a special interest in dental implant therapy. Outside of the office, Dr. Tepe enjoys golf, travel, and time with his family. Speaking of outside the office, that's exactly what his co-workers were wondering about on the second last day of 2025. It was Tuesday, December 30th, 2025, and Dr. Mark Valrose, who was head of the practice, he dialed 911. That morning, Spencer hadn't shown up for work, which was very, very unusual for him. I mean, Spencer loved his job. He cared deeply about his patients, and so him not showing up to work that morning, not answering any phone calls, well, something must be deeply, deeply wrong. I mean, this is way outside of Spencer's character. Now, Dr. Mark Valrose, he was actually out of state at the time. He was with family in Florida, as this is, you know, over the holidays. But the office, the practice was open then. There was another dentist working there. There was a secretary working there, other staff, dental assistants. And so they started to wonder, patients are arriving, but the doctor's not in. So they start calling the head of the practice, you know, Dr. Mark. Dr. Mark waits for about an hour for Spencer to show up, with worry and worry mounting. And then at 8:58 a.m., he called 911 requesting they do a welfare check. Something's wrong.
Yes, I would like to ask for a wellness check on an individual at their home. This individual, Spencer, works with me, and he did not show up to work this morning, and we cannot get a hold of him or his family.
He didn't show up to work?
Correct.
Okay. Does he have medical problems or?
No, and he's been reliable, and we cannot get in touch with him, his wife, his family, anybody that lives in that house.
So
his
you're
2
in
kids in the
Florida.
home. I was informed by my employees that he was not at work, and he runs the office.
Did you receive information that he may have been involved in an accident or?
No, ma'am. I just know that he is he is always on time, and he would contact us if there was any issues whatsoever. We're very, very concerned because this is very out of character. And we can't get in touch with his wife, which is probably the more concerning thing.
Okay. We will send somebody over as soon as we have an officer available, okay?
Now, that operator must be hungover from a Christmas party the night before, because as you can probably hear, she's not in the mood for that call at all.
I was made for loving you, baby, baby, made for loving me. Y'all come on up here now.
Unit 43.
Anybody home? There we go.
Now, the police did go out, as you can see in this body cam. An officer knocked on the door and no answer, so, well, that's it. No reason for any further action. Now, you may have noticed that house you just seen in that body cam. It's a little bit different from the house I showed you that the Tepe family lived in. That's because the officer went to the wrong address. Well, at least his singing is fantastic because his sense of direction is shite. This officer went to Summit Street, not North 4th Street, which is about a quarter mile away or a 1-minute drive. So then, about an hour after the initial call, now it's like 9:56 a.m., Spencer's co-workers show up to his house. They weren't exactly content with how the police did the welfare check. But this time though, co-workers, they're knocking on the door, they're not getting any answer. But now things are becoming really, really worrying. They can hear children, they can hear kids crying inside the house. And Spencer and Monique, they had 2 kids. They had a 4-year-old girl and a 1-year-old boy. So something is extremely wrong here.
Okay, what's the emergency there? Police or medical?
Maybe both, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of doing the
wellness. We already
wellness.
had a call out there. They knocked on the front door and back door multiple times, and there was no answer.
Yeah, no answer. I can hear kids inside, and I swear I think I heard one yell, but we can't get in. At this point, I don't know if I need to break the door in or just get in the house or what. So.
Okay, were you out there when the police was out there?
I wasn't. I just got here about 5 minutes ago.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll send them back out to you.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Now people were very worried, and after this second call was a third call by another coworker en route just to make sure the situation was being checked on.
Okay, what's the emergency there?
Our boss did not report to work. We haven't been able to get a hold of him for 3 hours. We are on site and we can hear kids
Okay, I
inside.
just talked to somebody there.
Okay, I'm just making sure somebody called.
Yeah, I just got a call from somebody and sent it back up for
Okay.
dispatch.
Okay.
Are you there? Because you're not showing that you're at the
No,
location.
I'm en route there.
Then this was followed by a final 911 call at 10:03 a.m. The coworker had made it inside, and they had also made a horrifying discovery inside the house. A body was found. 2 bodies would actually be found. 2 bodies would be found in the home.
We've got several calls on that. What's changed since the last person I talked to?
There's a body.
There's a body inside?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
What's going on there?
Our friend wasn't answering his phone. We just did a wellness check. We just came here, and he appears dead. There's blood. He's laying next to his bed, off of his bed, and there's blood. I can't get closer to see more than that. I can't look.
When was the last time somebody spoke to him?
Yesterday, I suppose.
Just in the last half hour, police confirmed that 2 people were found dead with multiple gunshot wounds inside this home. 2 children were also found in the home under the age of 6. They were unharmed. Now, I want to give you a look at this scene right now. It's still pretty active right now as police tell us they're early in their investigation.
The friends eventually gained access to the home. Perhaps one of the back doors was unlocked. This hasn't been released as of yet. Hearing crying children in the home and knowing that the Tepes have 2 young children, you're gonna want to get in. And in the upstairs bedroom, the bodies of both 37-year-old Spencer and 39-year-old Monique were found. It appeared they had both been shot to death. Spencer shot multiple times, Monique shot once. The 2 young children were unharmed, physically at least, as was the family dog, Larry. It would be determined that the double homicide had occurred shortly before 4 a.m, before the bodies were found, about 6 hours later. This was an incredibly shocking and disturbing crime done to an insanely beloved couple in their own bedroom. They had been married since 2021. They'd gotten married in the very backyard of the house they would later be found murdered inside of. Spencer Tepe was born December 1988, a native of Cincinnati, Ohio, and he would be a lifelong Bengals fan. He studied dentistry at the Ohio State University. Now, Spencer loved dentistry. All his colleagues would say he was so passionate about it, but when he wasn't dentisting, he was playing golf, being with his family, and traveling. He was also a member of Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, so truly a man who wanted to give back. You can see in all his videos, he was the sort of guy you just couldn't help but like him.
I've just tried to remain a role model as best as I can and demonstrate the importance of an education and just really kind of encourage him to pursue more and to do more.
Dear Momo, I feel so lucky to be up here with you today. You've grown to become my best friend, and together we're surrounded by friends and family who are fortunate to be able to say the same. We're so lucky.
His wife Monique, herself, she was from Chicago, born in October 1986, and guess what? She was a fellow graduate of the Ohio State University. She had moved to Ohio as a teen, and she remained in the state ever since. She went to university where she studied early childhood education, and then when she married Spencer, she would go on to become a stay-at-home mom. Before Monique met and married Spencer, though, she actually had been married before to a fella named Michael McKee. He was the same age as Monique, also from Chicago, and also another grad of the Ohio State. What's going on here? Michael and Monique had married in 2015 and divorced in 2017, so not the longest of marriages. It seems Michael, who was a vascular surgeon, was moving around a lot. Virginia, in a residency program there, California, Nevada. So maybe Michael moving around a lot was one of the reasons for the divorce. But regardless, Monique and Michael, they had no kids together, and from all reports, their divorce was pretty amicable. At the time of their divorce, a mutual restraining order was filed, which sort of like raised a little bit of eyebrows, but that's just Ohio state law, that when you're getting a divorce, you both get a restraining order. That's to stop, you know, the other from going through like joint assets and bank accounts until the divorce is actually finalized. There seems to be no real acrimony from the marriage, as far as I can tell, at least released so far. Monique would list the reasons for getting a divorce as they were just simply incompatible. Spencer and Monique met online and then married in 2021, January 30th to be precise, in their own backyard. And they would have 2 kids together.
Spencer, what can I say? From day one, I knew you were something special. I had quite a journey to get to you. Countless bad bumble dates, wrong relationships, and waterfalls of tears. But it was worth every cringing second because it led me to you.
And then they would both be brutally murdered in the middle of the night, shot to death inside of that very home.
37-year-old Spencer Tepe and 39-year-old Monique Tepe, both found with multiple gunshot wounds during a wellness check. 2 children under the age of 6 were found unharmed in that home on North 4th Street. Police say there were no signs of forced entry and no weapon has been found. Investigators are looking at neighborhood security camera video.
As the investigation began, police went door to door, asking for any footage, stuff like that. In the home, they noticed there was no obvious signs of forced entry. No weapon was found on the scene, and nothing was stolen. The motive was the couple's lives it seemed. Now the neighborhood, though nice, pretty houses sort of litter the area, it doesn't have exactly the best reputation vis-a-vis safety. It's still sort of inner city, and it's close to the Ohio. It's close to the Ohio state, right? So it can get a bit rowdy, lots of lads partying, all that kind of stuff happens around there. And there's been, a couple of reports of incidents in the area. 11 days earlier, right, a woman who lived just down the street had dialed 911 in the middle of the night, saying someone was banging on her door. It seemed like they were trying to get in, and he would not leave her alone. Even stranger was that about 8 months earlier, in April of 2025, a 911 call had come from the Tepe household. It was a woman calling in the middle of the night, saying she was, basically having a fight with her fella.
Hi, this is 911. We just got a hang-up call. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm okay. Sorry.
Okay, well, it sounds like you're crying. Do you need police, paramedics, or anything?
No, I'm okay. I promise. I'm just emotional. I'm okay.
This call was made at around 2:40 a.m. and it would later be revealed that the caller was not Monique, but rather the Tepes were having a party, and I guess some lady was having a drunken tiff with her fella. And so the investigation continued into this horrifying double homicide. The only lead the authorities had was this CCTV camera footage. It was showing who the police called a person of interest walking in an alley near the Tepe home around the time of the murders. Now, police were also quick to say that this could be some completely innocent person walking home from a party in the middle of the night, but they wanted to find them. Maybe they had seen or heard something. It was cold as balls that night, so there wouldn't have been, too many people kind of moseying around, right? And it would be exactly this CCTV footage that would lead to the alleged killer, 39-year-old Michael McKee. Police, reviewing the CCTV of this guy walking, were led to a vehicle which had arrived shortly before the murders and left shortly after. Tracking that vehicle, it led them to Rockford, Illinois, which is almost a 7-hour drive away. Why, oh why, would somebody make a long-ass trip like that in the middle of a cold-ass night, arriving shortly before the murders, and then leaving shortly after the murders to make, again, that 7-hour trip back to Illinois? Well, I mean, yeah. Probably the killer would do that, yeah, I guess, that's true. And following that car, the owner was none other than Monique's ex-husband, Michael McKee, a man who had attended the same university as Spencer and Monique. He was a doctor like them. He has no prior criminal record, so his arrest was, shocking. I mean, sort of shocking. I mean, the ex-husband, we're not breaking any molds over here, but he just seemed, kind of out of character, I guess. You got this, well-educated doctor, highly intelligent fella, and they divorced back in 2017. Monique and Michael divorced back in 2017. By all accounts, it was amicable. Now he's being arrested for a horrifying double murder. What the shit? It had been a quick divorce. There was no verifiable reports of domestics in the marriage, and it's not known that they had any contact since then. 8 years earlier.
According to an affidavit, Columbus police were able to identify a suspect through a neighborhood surveillance video. The suspect was reportedly tracked to a vehicle that arrived just before the homicides and left just after. According to court records, detectives found the vehicle in Rockford and then linked that vehicle to McKee.
Michael was arrested on January 10th, 2026, closing in on 2 weeks after the murders. Now, obviously, the police have a lot more than just him allegedly driving there in the middle of the night, shortly before the time of the killings, and then leaving shortly after the killings. But they haven't said what it is. The police report only lists his vehicle as the reason for the arrest, but police would later say that at Michael McKee's home, they found weapons, and one specifically linking him to the double homicide.
We can also say that multiple weapons were taken from the property of McKee. And there is a preliminary link from our NIBIN to one of the weapons that ties it to the homicides.
But even the family of the Tepes and Monique's family, they would say they sort of suspected him from the very get-go. So Was he just like a hateful bitch or what? Allegedly, during their marriage, he threatened her life multiple times. I mean, well, yeah, that'll do it. And he was emotionally abusive, but there's been no reports of him being physically abusive. At least Monique never mentioned it to anybody. So that's, I mean, yeah, incompatible is right. It's hard to be compatible with a dickhead. Sure, how did he get in? Right, he must have gained access in the middle of the night, as the murders were, shortly before 4 a.m, and that's when this mysterious person was seen walking. But as I went through the neighborhood, it's sort of nice, probably in like the process of being gentrified, but not quite. And there had been reports of, incidents just down the road, like over a week earlier, someone who was trying to break into a woman's house. You would think that the Tepes would lock that out, but there was no obvious signs of forced entry. Did Michael have a key? Did they have a keypad and he knew the code? There were alleged sightings of Michael McKee in the area in the days before the shooting. Now, police haven't confirmed nor denied him being in the area in the days leading to, but it's very, very possible he was scoping out the house he would home invade. Because both Spencer and Monique were found in their bedroom, they were, likely surprised. Didn't hear anything until the last moment. Didn't suspect anything, which makes an already horrifying case just that much more horrifying. This big, scary goon sneaking in. How he got in initially, we still don't know, but as Spencer's co-workers were able to get entry to the house, likely one of the doors had been left unlocked. Whether that was by the Tepes or by Michael McKee, we don't know. And most of all, why? Was he obsessed with her? Stalking her? I mean, it seems like yeah is the answer to both of those questions, because why else would he do what he did? I mean, it seems pretty clear that he never stopped obsessing over her and thinking about her because, well, 8 years after they divorced, he murdered her and her husband in their bed. Monique was said to be scared of him and wasn't shy about telling the story of their marriage, which was no good. In the initial 911 call, Dr. Mark Valrose said it was more concerning that Monique wasn't answering.
We can't get in touch with his wife, which is probably the more concerning thing.
Maybe because she had mentioned her fears before. Maybe there had been incidents of stalking and harassment that the Tepes had confided in friends and colleagues. That's why the colleagues had raced to the house that morning. Why they were so on top of it, so scared something might have happened. Unfortunately, they were right. He was a doctor himself, a surgeon, a driven, intelligent, maybe obsessive person. There are rumors going around, and there's a lot of rumors going around, but that Michael McKee, he cut off a lot of people over the years. He moved around a lot, but maybe he could never forget that woman from the Ohio State. The woman he had married. And maybe it was really sticking in his craw that she had a new husband, who had also gone to the Ohio State, who was also a doctor. And likely a much more successful one. Just 3 months before the murders, Jaws over here, he was sued for medical malpractice. He allegedly oversaw a botched surgery in Las Vegas. A catheter broke off in a patient's leg. And guess what? Sure didn't old Mick here do a legger. The patient's lawyer tried to find him unsuccessfully 9 times. He just vanished until he reappeared in Columbus, Ohio. Internet investigators found that there were odd spikes of both their names before the murders, like someone was Googling them. Though I will say this is very unreliable, and please take it with a big old scoop of salt. Like, in this case, there are so many rumors going on right now. Be careful what you believe. No doubt, though, the authorities will have Michael McKee's phone in their possession and will probably find much more incriminating, or not, information, more than him simply Googling their names. Michael McKee was adopted, and a friend from his hometown would say that he never really felt accepted, from his adopted family. So maybe his wife, Monique, leaving him, and allegedly she packed her bags while he was at work and he came home to an empty house. That was just another trigger for him. And then for 8 years, it's in his mind, grinding and grinding and grinding, and then he sees this video of his ex-wife with her new husband, looking happy as all hell. Now, in their divorce filings, it was all done come 2018. But in 2025, there was some kind of update. Now that appears to have been a clerical error. However, did that reminder trigger him? If he got a reminder or a letter, who knows? Michael had a second wife after Monique. What her story is remains a mystery, but through all these years, he remained focused on wife number 1, it seems. police would come out and say at a press conference that this was a domestic violence related attack, a targeted attack, and that they believe he is responsible for the murders of Spencer and Monique.
This was a domestic violence related attack. As we know, McKee is the ex-husband of Monique Tepe. We can say that we have the suspect's vehicle on neighborhood video surveillance arriving just before the murders and leaving shortly after. Detectives were able to link this vehicle to McKee. The vehicle was located in Rockford, Illinois, and evidence was found that showed McKee in possession of the vehicle before and after the homicides.
Michael is facing aggravated murder charges and will soon be back in Ohio, being extradited from Illinois. Via his attorney, he's intending to plead not guilty. And the two surviving children are staying with family members. The entirety of the wirety, hopefully that will come out eventually. And that, folks, is the ongoing story of the Tepe murders, the Tepe family murders. It is insane. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this and reading about it like I have been, following it since it happened, because it's just absolutely batshit bananas. But there you go, keep an eye on it, because I'm sure more news is going to be coming out, spilling out all the time. But until the next little one, please take care of each other and yourselves, because guess what? I love you. Mike out.